Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode of the Intuitive Marriage Podcast. I'm your host, Amanda, and if you are new, I'm happy you found me. I'm an intuitive marriage mentor, and I help and guide couples to use their intuition to create a deeper, more soulful connection with their partners. So welcome. Today's episode, we're diving into a cornerstone of any successful relationship. We're going to talk about trust. We'll explore how intuition plays a role in building and maintaining trust in your marriage. We'll share some real life examples and provide practical tips on earning and sustaining trust with your partner. We'll also discuss how couples can overcome past relationship trust issues to build a stronger connection. So let's get started. So first, we're going to talk about trust in marriage. Trust is the foundation of any healthy relationship. But what exactly does it mean to trust your partner? At its core, trust involves believing that your partner has your best interests at heart, and they will keep their promises and will act in ways that protect and respect you. So basically, do what you say you're going to do, right? Live your word. So what is the role of intuition and trust? Now, intuition, it's like my favorite word. This is why I created the podcast. It's that gut feeling, that we get deep inside. It often plays a significant role in how we perceive trust. And intuition can guide us in assessing situations and our partner's behavior. So it's that inner voice that tells us when something just feels right or wrong. You just get that feeling. Sometimes it's in our gut, sometimes it's in our chest, sometimes it's, manifests in a headache. Just don't ignore it. And I remember a couple I worked with, we'll just call them Sarah and James. Sarah often felt uneasy when James would go on a business trip. So she just couldn't pinpoint why, but her intuition told her that something was completely off. So instead of jumping to conclusions, like our minds often do, and especially if you have trust issues, that's a real tough one to not jump to those conclusions if you've been mistrusted in the past. Now, she decided to have an open and honest conversation with James about her feelings. And it turned out that James had been feeling stressed about work. So when he was out of town, those trips, he had more pressure to perform, and he was basically unintentionally distant because he had a lot to deal with when he was out of town, which Sarah had picked up on. So their discussion led to more transparency and reassured Sarah, that nothing was intentionally going on where she had to be concerned, but because of her intuition kicked in and, she just felt his energy was different. After discussing that, that strengthened their trust for each other. She was open and able to communicate with him, and he was able to, reassure her. Now, a few tips for earning and maintaining trust in your relationship. Now, let's get into some tips for earning and maintaining trust in your marriage. Now, these are common sense, but we all do kind of need reminders sometimes, right? Sometimes we know the right things to do and say, but we sort of take things for granted after a while. So it's good to have some reminders. So first of all, tip number 1, open and honest communication. So regularly check in with your partner about how they're feeling, what they need. This helps prevent misunderstandings and keeps both partners on the same page. There again, it goes back to the communication and expectations, right? Tip number 2, consistency is key. If you promise to do something, make sure you follow through with that. Consistency in your actions builds reliability, and this is crucial for trust. Don't say you're going to do one thing, don't keep a date night every night and then, or sorry, not every night, but don't say you're going to have a date night once a week and then it doesn't happen, right? Or it might happen for a couple weeks and then something comes up and, unless you're both agreeing with it. Or, don't say you're going to be home at a certain time and then not get home on time, right? Just try to be consistent. It's even like when you're parenting, it's the same kind of thing. Be vulnerable. Share your fears. Sorry, this is tip number 3. Be vulnerable. Share your fears, hopes, and dreams with your partner. When both partners open up, it creates a safe space where trust can flourish. Yeah, so it might feel really awkward and uncomfortable to open yourself up to be judged or thought of differently. But when you actually break yourself open and, share your deep, darkest secrets, it really does build a bond that you can't break, right? So just be vulnerable. Tip number 4, apologize and forgive. And don't hold grudges. I used to be a grudge holder. I know that's not very cool, but it felt really good to bring shit back up, right? And then I just realized I was just festering in it for myself. And it was kind of giving me a sort of a strange little, I don't know, high. And then I just kind of felt icky. It just didn't feel right. It was sucking my energy away in different areas. And I just realized I just kind of had to apologize and forgive. And this was like, years and years of past hurts. So, sorry, back on track here. Tip number 4, apologize and forgive. So, when mistakes happen and feelings are hurt, acknowledge them and sincerely apologize. Truly apologize. Forgiving your partner for their mistakes and when appropriate, of course, when appropriate, because there's some mistakes and some things that, need more than just a sincere apology. But when appropriate, you know, forgive your partner for their mishaps, their mistakes. It also helps to rebuild trust too. So even if there have been past mistakes, just be open and honest, be vulnerable and apologize and forgive and then change the behavior. Tip number 5, respect boundaries. So we discussed boundaries in episode 7. So go check that out. I think it was a pretty good one. Now, everybody has their own boundaries. Respect your partner's personal space and privacy. And this shows this shows that you honor their individuality and that you trust them. Here's just kind of a silly one, but maybe you're okay with having the washroom door open when you're doing your business, right? But maybe don't stand there and have a conversation while I'm like wiping my ass. Boundaries. So, you sort of come to an understanding through communication what you're okay with and what you're not okay with. Now, let me share another couple that I had worked with. It's kind of, it's actually very common. It's a common concern between couples, but basically it's the dreaded phone, right? Your cell phone, your device that we always have in our hand. So we'll just call them Emily and Tom. Um, Emily noticed her husband, he was kind of being very secretive with his phone. And of course, that always raises red flags and like, our intuition, our spidey senses start going. And instead of immediately assuming the worst, Emily trusted her intuition because she trusted her husband, but she also approached Tom with her concern calmly. This is a key. Calmly. Don't jump to conclusions. Tom explained that he had been planning a surprise anniversary trip. So, even though the surprise was ruined, but Emily's trust in her intuition paired with their open communication resulted in a discussion which felt good for Emily and Tom. So, he was honest about the secret, which reassured Emily, and that builds trust between them, and yeah, like I said, the surprise is ruined, but then they planned a beautiful trip together afterwards, and it helped prevent a big misunderstanding, right? So sometimes we just have to be honest. Just be honest. I mean, yeah, just be honest, right? Whatever feels good. Keeping surprises are difficult. It is very difficult. I'm not a good liar, and so I feel that. I feel for her. I feel for him. That was crazy. But anyways, um, now overcoming past relationship trust issues. I want to talk about that because that's a big one. Our past and trust issues, always seem to show their ugly faces if we haven't dealt with them properly. Now, they can often spill into new relationships, making it challenging to build a strong connection. However, with conscious effort and the right approach, couples can overcome these issues and build a healthier, more trusting relationship with each other. I'll be honest, this is our second marriage for both of us. And we both came into this relationship with past trust issues and traumas. And we'd both worked on our own selves, but we still did find it very challenging to trust completely. And it takes ongoing effort to maintain it. Like we've been together now over 10 years and we absolutely trust each other. But, there's still sometimes we're like, and that all has to go with the self-doubt and our self-esteem and all the self-awareness. And it goes back to that, right? Sometimes we all have those little, am I still good enough moments? But when you've built that trust and that knowing, that open communication where you can express to each other the concerns that you have, right? You understand what those scenarios and things that are said or perceived that may trigger your partner. So discussing all of that is extremely important, and getting into the nitty-gritty details. And that goes to being vulnerable, and yeah, it builds a much stronger connection between you and your partner. So I want to show you guys a few ways to build trust when challenging discussions arise and that are triggered by your past mistrusts. So first of all, acknowledge and understand the past experiences. So here again, take time to reflect on past relationship experiences and understand how they have impacted your trust levels. Now, this is really great for self-awareness. Get out your journal, start journaling how it makes you feel, what about it makes you feel that way, how are you feeling it in your body? Really get to understand what it is that's really affecting you and the feelings that come with that. and discuss these openly with your partner. Helping them understand your triggers and your insecurities is extremely, extremely important to maintain a level of understanding. You have to be open. You just have to be open. Second, build a new trust foundation or many foundations. So, example, focus on creating positive experiences with your current partner. Establish new routines and rituals that foster trust and reliability. So here again, let's just go back into what I mentioned earlier. Is maybe that's sending a text saying that you're on your way. Maybe you're leaving work, maybe you're leaving, if you have an established routine and you and your partner text each other every day, that's, everybody has their own routine and pattern, right? If you know he's coming home from work and it's not something he typically texts you from leaving work, don't create an issue by saying, you need to now text me when you're leaving work. That's not what I'm saying. But if there's a pattern, right? He's gone out with the boys, maybe he's gone golfing, maybe he's gone out for whatever, a couple drinks, whatever, dinner, or she, whichever, and they say, hey, I'm on my way, then they kind of will typically expect you home within the amount of time it takes to drive from there to home. So don't say that and then, be 3 hours later. That's just being very disrespectful. And it's going to create trust issues. I go crazy. Not anymore. I don't have a reason to anymore. But, they always say like, oh my goodness, like, you just go crazy. Well, yeah, you kind of make me go crazy because there's no pattern, there's no predictability. And I'm a person who I would like some predictability in my relationship and my marriage. And I think I'm speaking for most. If I'm incorrect, please let me know. But you rely on a certain amount of predictability in your marriage. So when you are all over the place, that is creating a very big shitstorm, in my opinion, for um, trusting you. Trusting your partner, right? Like, how do you wrap your brain around that when you're not sure? So, and those are, for myself, that was a big trigger for me. And it's wonderful that I have a husband who, you know, um, unless he is out shopping, grocery shopping, or out with his children, or whatever, he's home. He wants to be home. So, if he says he's coming home, I know he's home at a certain time. And if he's running late, he respectfully sends me a message so that we are aware of, you know, where each other are, what we're up to. But and it's nice. You kind of gain that trust where we'll go hours and hours, and then it's just kind of like, hey, have a good night. I love you, thinking of you. But he knows where I am and I know where he is, and it's a nice way to live. So perhaps it's letting your partner have complete 100% access to your phone. I know I discussed this earlier. This is a huge issue between couples that I speak with, and that people come to me and ask me questions about it. And honestly, discuss with your partner what you agree upon. I don't agree with just going and grabbing your partner's phone and just snooping. Mm, on just a regular basis, unless it's been discussed and you need to be open and honest. Now, however, if you are having big intuition issues and you try to have open conversation and you aren't getting anywhere, then I believe that you have a certain right to keep your partner accountable in your marriage based on what you've discussed. We have discussed that. I have no reason or even want to go into my husband's phone, but I can at any time, and vice versa. He has full access to my phone. He plays a game on my phone because he actually gets me higher levels, which is so fun. Other than that, he hates it because I have Apple, he has Android, and it's cool. I mean, he has really no interest in touching my phone, but he has full access to if he feels he needs to check something out. And that is the expectation that we have set for each other years ago. And that's what makes us feel comfortable and vulnerable, right? If you have something to hide on your phone, then you are hiding something from your spouse, your partner, your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, whatever it is. I mean, this is a marriage podcast, but I'm open to all. Do not hide shit. If you have nothing to hide, then everything is accessible. I'm assuming you're married, you are in partnership. That's a huge thing for me. And hey, I'm guilty of the past. I have not always made great choices. And these are things that I have learned and grown to understand and work on myself to allow myself to be even vulnerable with the mistakes and forgive myself for my own personal mistakes of my past. So it's a huge self-awareness. It goes right back to self-awareness. So but I'm just telling you, discuss what you're both comfortable with. We're talking about your device or your phone at the moment, but this could be anything, right? Perhaps it's, you know, letting your partner hear every conversation you have. I don't know. Like it's all based on what your past trust issues are. So be open and discuss it. It's okay. We have all learned from past mistakes. Thirdly, seek professional help. Okay. Sometimes past trust issues can be deeply rooted and challenging to overcome on your own. So, seeking help from a couples therapist can provide valuable tools and techniques to work through these issues from your past. Do it together, have therapy singly, solo. And please take responsibility for getting the help and support that you need for yourself and your marriage. Because getting help for yourself is going to help your marriage. Your spouse is not responsible for fixing you. I'm going to say that again. Your spouse is not responsible for fixing you. They are responsible for being there and supporting you and keeping you accountable. But you are responsible for your own mental health, well-being, and the things that you need to work on in your own damn head. Fourthly, is that a word? Practice patience and compassion. So understand that rebuilding trust takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. These things don't happen overnight. Be patient with yourself and your partner, showing compassion and support as you both work through past traumas. Give yourself some damn grace. Okay, both of you. We all deal with things differently as well. The way you heal may be very different than your partner. So again, it's communication, expectations. Now, let's talk about a couple, John and Lisa. John had been betrayed in his previous marriage, and he struggled with trusting Lisa fully. Now, Lisa, understanding his past, she practiced patience and compassion, and she made sure to communicate openly, reassuring John regularly. And John also worked on his own healing through therapy. So over time, their consistent efforts helped them build a stronger, trust-filled relationship. Now, you may be working on rebuilding trust with each other, and perhaps you're overcoming some challenging situations in your current marriage. Patience and compassion. Reevaluate your expectations. Maybe your roles have changed. Maybe things are different, which will change your expectations of each other or yourselves. Boundaries. All these past episodes, we've gone through these. This is what I go through in my marriage mentoring course, which I'm working on. I'm building my website. I'm very excited. Things are coming together. So I've sort of just been mentoring on the side and privately for the last few years. And now things are coming together. So I'm excited, but more on that in the future. But, let's talk about things. Why did you get married? What do you both want in your marriage? Have things changed? Has that conversation changed from, you know, maybe 6 months ago, 6 years ago, however long you've been married, 20 years ago? Why did you fall in love? Why did you choose to get married? Keep each other accountable for your actions. Keep yourself accountable, but keep each other accountable. You're a partnership. You're a team. If you have a business partner, you're going to keep each other accountable, right? So to me, it's you're in the business of love. You're in a partnership for life. So there's no shame in speaking up and saying what is bothering you to your partner. And here's my favorite. Intuition exercises. It all comes down to building up your own personal intuition and then building your intuition as a couple. So here's a couple of exercises to help you tune into your intuition. Number 1, mindfulness meditation. I'm going to end up getting all this stuff myself. I'm going to make meditations, I think, for you guys. I'm excited. I got things in the works, but for now, this is all you're getting. Mindfulness meditation. Spend a few minutes each day in a quiet reflection, cozy space, paying attention to your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Just take some time, sit in the quiet. Maybe you need a guided meditation. I speak to a lot of people that do struggle with trying to quiet their mind, and I'm like one of them. Hugely, my brain is always in conversation with thousands of conversations, it seems, and ideas and thoughts. And yes, so I'm always creating and doing stuff just to try to quiet my brain. But I do find that practicing mindfulness meditation, and it is a practice, it's like you got to, build that muscle, that I can calm my brain and I can get more creative. I almost like get what I call downloads from spirit, from the universe, whatever you want to, say where it's coming from. But I get all of a sudden these thoughts just enter my brain, or ideas, or questions I ask myself, or answers they just come to me. And I know that that's, I'm being guided. So, but you can really only hear that when you learn to get quiet in your mind. So try it. It's fun. You can Google, YouTube. There's lots of really great, cool, calming music that you can meditate to, or just go sit outside. Number 2, huge in intuition, is journaling. Write down your thoughts and feelings regularly. This can help you notice patterns and better understand your intuitive responses. So there again, ask questions, sleep on it, journal the next day. Do you have answers? Do you have different ideas? Are you finding different solutions to a problem that you didn't realize? Oh, pardon me. That you didn't see the day before. Sometimes I answer my questions while I'm writing. It just comes out where just sitting there in my brain, it's like a jumbled mess. But when I take the time and I start writing, I find that that's when clarity hits. So those are my 2 recommendations for you if you want to build your intuition for yourself. Tune into your intuition is mindfulness, meditation, and journaling. So this episode is all about trust. Remember, trust in your marriage. It's a dynamic and it's an ongoing process. It never stops. So by listening to your intuition, communicating openly, and practicing consistent, respectful behavior, I'm going to emphasize the word respectful, you can build and maintain a strong foundation of trust with your partner. Remember, trust is not just given. It is earned and it is nurtured over time. So overcoming past trust issues is possible with patience, understanding, and effort from both partners. So thank you, my beautiful souls, for joining me today on the Intuitive Marriage Podcast. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover in the future episodes, please reach out. There's links in the show notes. And if you found this to be interesting, please share it. Please share it. I'm slowly growing and it's exciting and it will really help my podcast. So thanks so much. Please share with a friend. And until next time, trust your intuition and cherish your marriage. Bye for now.